Hey everybody, this is Efti with Close, and today I want to share some thoughts on how to deal with prospects and customers that are particularly hurting during these times. 14 years ago or so, when I first moved from Europe to Silicon Valley, I went to a TEDx event and I met a guy called David Weekley, who is an awesome human being and I'm still friendly with. And in one of the breaking sessions, he was a successful entrepreneur already. He had raised around, he was running a really important kind of education startup at the time. I don't even know what I asked him. We talked about Silicon Valley and what the differences between the US and Europe and how to build a successful startup. And at some point, he gave me this piece of advice, and I never forgot it. He told me, listen, Stelly, one thing that is special about Silicon Valley is that we treat our interns particularly well. And you should treat your interns exceptionally well because one day you might have to work for them. And in many ways, Silicon Valley has many good and bad things to it, just like any other place in any other network or economy around the world. But one of the more powerful ideas that is really lived in that world was truly that everybody had this idea that it's not a zero-sum game, and people that seem powerless today, people that seem like they couldn't help you today might become, game changers, industry titans. So you better be nice to everybody, right? And you can tell why if you think about the history of technology and software in Silicon Valley specifically. So that resonated with me. That always stayed in the back of my mind. And it's been very true. A lot of the most junior people, all of the interns that I've had work for me have become really important, successful entrepreneurs that are quite powerful today and can really help me. And maybe one day I'll work for them. Here's why I wanted to bring up this moment and this quote and this philosophy. It's bad times like these where you can create a reputation that will last a lifetime, and where you create impressions that last a whole career. So when you're in sales, you interact with a lot of people. And you interact with people typically on some level that is pretty transactional. Like, I'm reaching out to you, I start a relationship, I nurture that relationship, I communicate and converse with you to convert it into business, into money, right? Into an exchange of goods and services for money. So it's usually pretty short-term focused. Like, I start the relationship with you today and I have kind of a short to mid-term goal in mind of turning you into a customer. When there's a massive crisis like there is one right now, when there's so much uncertainty, when there's a global pandemic, when people are losing their jobs at never before seen levels, and there's so much uncertainty, it is easy for people, especially for salespeople, to think even more short term, to actually, out of a panic and out of a fear and out of an internal insecurity, become quite harsh and even more transactional and start thinking, can this person give me money now? If not, they're worthless to me. And that's a very dangerous position. It's dangerous from a societal point of view, like creating in harsh times, treating people even less with humanity and dignity and empathy can really be the stroke that breaks the camel's back, can really be something that harms people's psyche and is really an ugly thing. But on top of it, it's bad business practice. It is very short-sighted business practice. Most salespeople don't think about themselves as a business and that will have to be in business for the next 30, 40 years. And they don't think of their prospects and customers as relationship that you need to nurture over decades, that will pay dividends over decades if you nurture them correctly. They only think about them as like this quarter's pipeline, right? And either you're lost or you're won, and then you're forgotten. But if you treat your prospects and customers as long-term business relationships, you're gonna get a lot more return benefit and money from it. And the longer you're in business, the more money you're going to be making and the easier it's going to be to make money. So I'll give you a good example. What do you do with a customer that or a prospect that has just laid off a ton of people, right? So this is a deal that you've been working on for a long time, or this is a customer that you just closed last year, but there's a renewal coming up, or there's more opportunity you thought you'd be able to chase. And you read in the news that they just laid off a ton of people. What do you do in that situation? Well, here's what you don't do. You don't just cross them off your pipeline. You just delete their data from your CRM. You don't just go, oh, if I get emails from them, they probably want to just cut cost even further, so I'm just going to ignore them. There's no money to be gained from, for me personally, right now from that prospect or company. That's not what you do. Maybe, and especially if you think that that was a great company, a company with very talented people, a company that you think long-term has prospects and prosperity in its future, maybe now's the time for you to reach out. Maybe you give it a week or two till things calm down, and then you reach out. You can reach out to people that were laid off that you knew or you're connected with, right? How about reaching out and letting them know, hey, I just heard about the bad news. I hope you and your family are okay. I know these are very tough times, but from my experience, working with you, collaborating with you, talking to you, I gain really high respect for you. I think you are a rock star, and I'm certain you're going to do well in the future. You're going to be fine, right? Think about that. Like at a time where people feel really down on themselves, getting an email from a professional that doesn't owe them anything, that can't get anything from them in return, and just giving them some words of encouragement. You know that quote that, people never forget how you made them feel. They might forget who you are, your name. They might forget places. They might forget dates, but they will never forget how somebody made them feel. This is a moment to make people feel hopeful, make people feel positive, make people feel valued at a time where they're crushed. They will never forget that. And if you do that with the right people, with people that you believe in, that people that are good people, hardworking people, people that have a career in front of them over the next 10, 20, 30 years, they will never forget that. And they will want to be in business with you in the future. They will want to give you money, contracts, opportunities, because you made them feel encouraged and hopeful at a time where they were down and nobody was showing up for them. Think about the power of that. But it doesn't just have to be lip service. If you can, offer even more. You could tell a person like that, hey, if you're looking for work, I want to be helpful if I can. I have limited means, but if you are applying for any kind of company that you see I have connections with, or if you apply for any company or position that you're particularly interested in, just ping me and let me know. And if I know somebody there, I might vouch for you. I might try to make an introduction. Or at the worst, maybe if you need another recommendation or testimonial or just anything I can do to help, let me know. If I can, I want to help you. I believe in you. I want to help you. It can be a game changer. And that relationship, yeah, it might not bring you a closed deal this quarter, but you would be surprised how quickly life can change. How quickly somebody that's down and out, that was just fired, might start a company in a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, and a year from now, they might be a multimillionaire. They might be killing it. They might be incredibly important and powerful. And they might just remember you at that point, right? And that's just the people that were let go. You can reach out to people that are still in the company. I mean, they're suffering too. It's tough to let people go, right? If you are having a connection with the CEO, let's say, there's no worse day in the life of a CEO than a day where he or she has to lay off a ton of people. It sucks. It's heartbreaking. Reach out to them. Let them know, hey, I just heard what you had to go through. I know how tough it is. I know how difficult this must be. I just wanted to let you know I've always respected you as a CEO. I still do. I know this is a tough time, but from everything that I've observed and heard from you and seen from working with you in the past, I believe in you and your future. You're going to do well. If there's any time, anything I can do to support you, just let me know. Right? Show up for these people. Build your reputation during these hard times, especially with the prospects and customers that are hit the worst. And then just check in with them once a quarter. How is life? How are you doing? How are things? And maybe at some point you're down and out, right? It can happen. Life is crazy. Maybe at that point you reach out and you say, you know what? A year ago I reached out to you and told you, I believe you. I just had to go through the same thing as you. And now I can tell you it's much worse than I thought even a year ago. I was just laid off, or I just had to lay off people. And I'm destroyed. I'm I'm really in a bad place. I hope you're doing better, right? I just wanted to share that with you because you know what it feels like to go through what I just went through. If there's any valuable advice you can give me, please let me know. And who knows, maybe that person now gives you an opportunity or a chance or a job or a deal to close or whatever, right? But don't just be, during a crisis, it's very easy to be even more short-term focused. And I realize and recognize that to some degree we have to act with urgency, but we don't have to act with desperation. We do still need to act with dignity, especially during difficult times. So try to close deals that are closable right now. Try to go after deals that are realistic to be closed and converted during this quarter. Go after customers that are prosperous. Invest in those relationships, right? Don't just go out chasing after the ones that are doing poorly. You can't feed your family with just long-term investments of your reputation. You have to balance it out with some short and midterm action as well. But don't just go purely short-term and forget that if the world is not going to completely collapse and we're all going to die, the world is still around and we are still around in a year, 10 years, 20 years from now. This is a time to build your reputation. This is a time maybe to build your best, your most valuable business relationships. Think about it that way, act that way, and you'll see a massive benefit for you. If there's anything I can do for you, as always, no matter how well things are going or how poorly they are, you can always reach out to me, stelly@close.com. I always love hearing from you. If there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. And until next time, stay safe and let's go get them.